Hey y'all, welcome to Q's Corner. I think I just showed something I'm not supposed to. We're already messing up. If you guys can hear me, then put a one in the chat for me so I just know that you're here. Very good. Okay. So y'all, as you can see, I'm already messing up this morning. There's a little coffee stains. I have my beverages, a little coffee stain on my shirt because I bumped into something coming back into my little corner. And my whole little morning routine has just been messed up. But I'm really glad that you guys are here with me. And thank you for joining me for my first Q's Corner, where you guys get to see one girl in her little corner of the world in real time. So we're going to see how this all works. Buckle up. It is going to be a fun ride. Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. We are not Team T. We are never going to be Team T. That's not the way this works. I love you, Shara. I will ban you from the channel with T. I'm happy you have your coffee. I have mine too. Again, I'm wearing it. Have my little coffee cup. My cup list it says life is a beautiful adventure. And the thing is, I had to heat up my coffee again before I got on because don't do um I don't do lukewarm coffee. So I have to have hot coffee. So that's how I ended up um spilling coffee because I walked back into the room and I bumped into something and spilled coffee in my shirt and didn't notice it until about 2 minutes before I was supposed to go live. But again, that's the way life works. Live, we're doing what we do this morning. So I'm gonna take some coffee so I can get some caffeine in because I waited for you guys to have my morning cup of coffee because I'm usually up no later than about 5:30 every Saturday morning. So I have I waited on my caffeine intake. Let's see, what do we have to talk about this morning? Some fun stuff. I want to kind of let you guys know why I started the channel and what I plan to do with the channel. So I started the channel because I have been in the comment streets for a very long time, and lots of people ask why I wouldn't start a channel. I did not want to because I like the comment street, and I thought it would take my test my sanctification. But listening to the lead attorney decided that since I am 35 plus, that I would actually start a channel and give my I said I would call it Q's Corner because my name is Kiana. And I have over I guess the last 20 plus years kind of gone by Q. I've been able to tell where I've lived what people call it. So Q's Corner, one girl from her little corner of the world. When I told my chat friends that I was starting the channel, they asked for ratchetness because everybody knows I like ratchet TV, which really just means I like pop culture. They're on me too much about that. Um, so I am glad to see some of my lovely chat friends and my much older brother, dear Woke Christian, in the house. Happy belated birthday again, Jason. You got God's fancy girl in the house who has her coffee. I got Shara Joel in the house, who I have grown to love getting to know. And then we have a special guest who is very important to me. It's my sister, y'all. She's my fourth favorite person in the whole wide world. Thank you for joining me, Sissy. I love you. So using a filter for the first time because apparently when I did the lighting, it blurred me out a little bit. And so you have to adjust my photo, adjust my video. So I did that using StreamYard, and y'all, it had me looking young. And I was like, no, we don't fool people like that. So my filter is very subtle. So I don't look the nearly 50 that I am. We dropped it down to about what my age is. Good morning, Tina. How are you? And so I will tell y'all, I am probably going to be really bad at this. So I wanted to start out by giving everyone some good news. And that good news is one of our city girl mayors is probably going to reap a little bit of justice here pretty soon. So if you don't know, you will see that the FBI has issued warrants or subpoenas, excuse me, on the village of Dalton. So we're gonna listen to what ABC7 Chicago has to
Dalton
say
Village
about that.
Hall sits empty, closed for the weekend following a sudden visit from federal agents Friday. The FBI confirming an investigation now underway in the south suburb, though declining to comment on the nature of it, calling it, quote, court-authorized law enforcement activity. But according to sources, at least 2 subpoenas were served during the FBI investigation to obtain personnel.
Oh, I'm sorry, y'all.
There have been a lot of spending, just that we're not really privy of, and we've been asking for answers.
The investigation comes as the village has been embattled with controversy for months. Dalton Village Administrator and Thornton Township Municipality Manager Keith Freeman was indicted Tuesday in federal court, accused of bankruptcy fraud.
Our job is to make sure we take care of the business.
He's a close ally of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who herself is accused of mishandling funds. In fact, the Dalton Village Board recently hired former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to investigate allegations of corruption and theft by Mayor Henyard, who previously vetoed the board's request to launch a federal investigation into her. Henyard is also named alongside village trustee and community activist Andrew Holmes in a sexual assault lawsuit. It was filed by a Dalton police officer who was a member of Henyard's security detail, as well as a woman who used to work for the mayor.
All those who are doing wrong need to resign. Step down.
As the sun set on Village Hall Friday, some other trustees welcoming what they describe as a new day in Dalton as they
Can you
await
guys
the
still hear?
findings of the federal visit.
Of course, you don't want to see the negativity that's been brought in. But again, the sun is shining today. And this is a good day for the
I
residents
am
of
not
Dalton.
hearing right now.
Now, when asked about this FBI investigation, a spokesperson for the village of Dalton didn't directly address it, only saying that there wasn't a raid. We are live in Dalton. I'm Trey Ward, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago Eyewitness News.
Uh-oh. Let me stop sharing because that is my last. That's my stop the screen from sharing. So, Big Tiff is about to get a little bit of a comeuppance, and you guys are right. Everybody's gonna have to sing like a canary. The word on the street, or some people have speculated that Keith Freeman being brought up on what is it, bankruptcy fraud charges was actually to get to Tiffany. So we will see how this goes. It's going to be fun. There is no lack of funness and things just going on in Dalton. So that was our first little thing. We're going to move on to another type of city girl, but she is what our dear friend April Chapman would call an ratchet pan, and that's Tia Mowry. She recently released a video commiserating with other women, or trying to commiserate, or trying to get them to commiserate with her about her recent divorce. So we're going to hear what she has to say. Oh, and I'm not finding the right one. So give me 1 second, y'all. It looks like I have duplicated something that I did not mean to duplicate with the video. Okay. So now we can do a share. This is from Entertainment Tonight. So we're gonna play this, and then we're gonna talk about it a little bit. And what it probably actually is, as opposed to what she's making it. Let's see. I hope I'm sharing the right one. I'm sharing. Why am I not seeing this? I'm not. Hold on. I'm going to stop sharing here because I don't want to present that one. But she is just to let the cat out of the bag while I'm trying to find the video. She is actually planning to do a new reality series based on her life now. So now that she's graduated and she is divorced, in her navigating that, she wants to do a new reality series. So let's hear what she has said and done. I apologize. These are her videos, not mine. So. Now I'm going to stop it right there. She's like, someday I'll be able to look back on this and with gratitude for the beautiful children. Girl, you left your husband. Nothing happened to you. There was no tragedy. He didn't leave you. By all accounts, he was a faithful husband. When you first came out and said you wanted a divorce, he was like, I love my family. I didn't do anything. So what is there for you grieving and looking back on? You said you were graduating. I don't understand. But we'll go on. Now that is I have a lot to say, but when am I going to say it? She's going to start with the reality show. I'm not sure if it's premiering this year, but she's about to say some things. So that will be interesting. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. So you can hear it but can't see it. I'm sorry, y'all.
Emotional buildup with exercise, journaling your thoughts, meditation, and seeking therapy to cope with the breakup and the dreams you had for the future.
Since calling it quits in 2022, Tia's been doing just that and has been nothing but an open book about her next chapter.
You're falling in love with yourself. I know you hate to admit it. There's a lot of other people you could be falling in love with.
Okay. I don't know how you guys feel, but this whole little falling in love with yourself and the fact that she's been an open book. Yes, God, fancy girl. That's what I'm talking about. Drizzle guy, fancy girl. I hope that Corey is entering his soft guy era. We'll talk about that a little bit later too. But she's been an open book on love with herself. Notice her husband has said nothing. He's been silent other than the fact that he came out. There were rumors about him dating his fitness instructor, and he was like, the only thing I'm dating is my job and my kids. Basically, he's like, I'm about business. So, yeah, apparently she's falling in love with herself, and that's probably because nobody else is falling in love with her.
Love with. But you're choosing you.
I'm all about inspiring and encouraging. The DMs that I have gotten from so many women that are going through the same thing and just saying how they admire my courage and my strength. It has just been, I feel so blessed.
Question for y'all. How much strength does it take to dump your family, rip your kids from their dad, and then go on and whine and complain about how dating is hard when you had a good man, about how you're just learning to love yourself again and give to yourself and take care of yourself because you just give so much. I mean, where's the strength? Am I missing something? Y'all tell me.
Included in Tia's blessings, her 2 children, whom she shares with Corey, 12-year-old son Cree and 5-year-old daughter Cairo.
Oh, I don't think you understand. I'm obsessed.
While talking about her kiddos, Tia couldn't help but get emotional.
Someday, I believe I'll be able to look back on this time with nothing but warmth and gratitude for the beautiful children brought into my life and the stronger version of myself that emerged from the experience.
I am really, I have to be honest with you, so overwhelmed by all of the support and the love that I have received. And I'm just so grateful of the community and just the fans that I have and the women.
Among those women, her twin sister, Tamara.
I said, Tia,
So now before we play what Tamara has to say, I'd like to remind you all that Tamara is still married. She is still with her family. She's still her family is still intact. Just setting it up, I understand that they're twins. I understand the bond between sisters, all that good stuff. You are right, Tina S. She is blinded by the world. And the thing is, though, the world doesn't want her. Because the world that she wanted was she thought she was going to be this eligible bachelor on the dating scene. And she and I are the same age. I'm a few months older than her. So she's going to be 46 in July. Girl, our pool has shrunk. And now, mind you, she has 2 kids. I don't have kids, and my dating pool has shrunk. Her pool is probably still larger than mine because I think she would be open to dating different types of people, but it's still a lot smaller than it was when she met her husband and she was 20. So now we're going to listen to what Tamara has to say in support of her sister.
I'm looking on your Instagram. This is the happiest you have ever been in a long time. You are glowing. And I said, you look different. I said, you know what? I'm so proud of you because you are showing other women, hell, even men, you know, that you walk in your truth. Look what happens no matter what. And she's the voice for so many right now.
As women, we take our power back by sharing our stories and bringing any deep shame we hold from this experience into the light. I love you guys. Tia.
Oh, sorry, hold up. That's the next one. But okay, so do you know what Tia should feel? Shame. She should feel ashamed that she broke her family apart. She should feel ashamed that she's out here having to 304 it up on Instagram because she is trying to catch a man. I will tell y'all this. I knew that she and Corey were going to break up. I knew she was going to leave him because after their second child, she had been kind of struggling to lose weight because she had their second child when she was a little bit older. And she was having some issues with losing weight. And so finally, once whatever regimen she was doing started kind of take a take control, take a hold, she started doing what are called thirst traps on Instagram. And I knew it would not be long before she was out with her husband. And sure enough, no more than about, we'll say, a year to 2 years later, she was announcing that she was graduating from marriage, graduating from her husband, and she was moving on to her new curriculum. And walking in your truth, that is so true, Patty H. Good morning and welcome to you. Thank you for joining me. Walking in your truth is a lonely path, ma'am. That is a very lonely path. I don't know. She said she hopes to, well, she said she was celebrating earlier, and now she says she hopes to celebrate. So we shall see how that all works out. So y'all, we're gonna move on from we're gonna move on from one type of 304 to another. This don't know if you guys know this story. This is the story of, well, it's about a baseball player who's a pitcher. I'm not sure because I haven't followed baseball in the longest time, y'all, any sports really. But there was a Major League Baseball pitcher named Trevor Bauer, and he had a couple few women accuse him of SA. I think we're long enough into it now that I can actually say it. Sexual assault. He had them accuse him of that. And he had all the receipts to prove that they were both lying. Well, thanks to my home state, one of them is about to face some serious punishment. So let's listen to what Trevor has to say.
So now she's facing up to 16 years in prison. Her claims are even more absurd than Lindsay's were. So here's some of the details. We had one plain sexual encounter in December of 2020. Nothing that could be considered remotely rough. She initiated it, but don't take my word for it. Take hers. This is a picture and text message she sent me the next morning explaining why she came on to me. And for months afterwards, she repeatedly requested to sleep with me again. For example, this text from January 7th, 2021. At one point, she even requested a sample of my sperm so she could have my child whenever she wanted to in the future. Now, it's hard to keep track, but she's made at least 4 7-figure demands over the last few years. More than.
Okay. So y'all, I had to stop it there. So who in the world has to have somebody sperm so that they can have their baby anytime she wants? And you know what? I'm just gonna have to put it out there, y'all. She was black. She was actually voted Miss Black Arizona. And I'm like, really, girl? You're making it hard for me. I digress. I will let Trevor continue talking about what happened.
A year after the one time we slept together, and only after Lindsay Hill made up her false allegations, Adana retained a lawyer. She then demanded $3.6 million and claimed I forced her to have an abortion, leaving her emotionally devastated and irretrievably damaged by it. But here's the thing. She never had an abortion because she was never even pregnant, and that's corroborated by her own medical records. When I refused to pay her the $3.6 million she was asking for, she made up a bogus sexual assault claim and filed a civil suit against me. In that version of her story, she claimed, for the first time, by the way, that there was non-consensual sex. But her texts from the next morning show what actually happened. Remember this text in which she explains why she came on to me? She also claims that instead of an abortion, she actually had a miscarriage, but that's impossible, of course, because again, she was never even pregnant.
Okay, so raise your hand in the chat if you have ever tried to extort somebody for money and by telling them you were pregnant. Shar Joel, the reason you probably don't know who he is because he has been banned from Major League Baseball for like the last 2, 3, maybe a couple of years longer. The first girl who accused him of of a sexual assault, she got him suspended, and then I think she filed a lawsuit. They kicked him out. The man had like like a $51 million contract. I'll have to see if I can find that one for you. At Dear Woke Christian, I'm sorry nobody believed you. Don't they understand how you identify? You should have told them no one can tell you that you weren't and that you're not. We're going to go back to Trevor so we find out how this all ends. And again, shout out to my second home state, not the one I was born and raised in, but the one where I spent a good portion of my adult life in, Arizona, for actually bringing charges against this lady.
We now have emails between her and the first 2 law firms that dropped her, in which they acknowledge they never had any evidence to support her claims, but they'll try to get my money anyway. I then shared an audio recording I have in which Adana contradicts her own claims and asks me for money. In the emails, her lawyers agreed that that's insurmountable evidence, and they inform Adana that they can no longer represent her unless she can provide documentation or proof of her claims. And of course, she couldn't do that, so the law firm urged her to consult other law firms with different standards. Now, Adana has filed more than 10 police reports claiming sexual assault or harassment against other men, including at least one other professional athlete. But after the Scottsdale police completed their investigation into her claim against me, she's the one being indicted for felony fraud. And not just against me, against another man as well. She made up bogus sexual assault claims and attempted to extort him too. And it gets worse. In my lawsuit against her, we subpoenaed a witness whom she knew for relevant documents to use in our case. And when she found out, she immediately made sexual assault claims against him too. Her MO is clear. Lie to men to get their money, extort them if she must, and when they refuse to pay, stop paying or stop giving her what she wants, go to the police, accuse them of sexual assault, and file a civil suit against them to retaliate. And just so no one can say, well, he still has 2 other accusers, just because the first 2 are complete frauds doesn't mean the others are. Here's a couple facts about them. They both had lawyers first demand in excess of $3 million to not go public. In both cases, only after I refused to pay any sum of money did their lawyers make anonymous claims in the media. They both had the opportunity to file a criminal complaint against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to file a civil suit against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to participate in Lindsay Hill's civil suit against me. They could have even done so anonymously. They both refused. One of them even submitted a statement to the court stating that she never made public accusations against me. The other refused to participate so vehemently that Lindsay Hill took legal action against her, trying to force her to participate. She still refused. So they both had.
I wanted to stop just a second because I wanted to acknowledge what Shara said, because that is exactly where I was going to go with this once we finish the video. This is a good lesson for why you don't sleep around. I want to say Trevor has actually had 4 women, and I think he was explaining about that, the other people who did not want to testify in the first lawsuit, that they didn't want to see. He said about 4 people, 4 ladies, not people, because that's not what we do here. He had 4 ladies who accused him of assaulting them in some way or another, abusing them. And if he were not so loose and just apparently running around everywhere, he wouldn't have had these accusations. I mean, truthfully, I'm thinking about it. I remember when Mike Pence was vice president, and I know that in some circles that name is now, but everybody was upset for him for having a Billy Graham rule. And you know what can't happen though? You can't get accused of something because you're never alone with anybody. If you're not sleeping with anybody who's not your wife, you're probably not going to get accused of sexual assault. Now, you do have some crazy wives who will accuse their husbands of that, and that's a whole other story. Some of it, like with some women who bring charges of assault, are very valid. Others are not. But that's another story for another time. We're gonna continue with Trump.
Had the opportunity to testify under penalty of perjury. Neither of them did. One can only wonder why. Perhaps it's because all their claims against me are lies. Now, it's been 2 years since these women and their lawyers attempted to weaponize anonymous claims in the media against me to take my money. I addressed them at the time, and as far as I'm concerned, it's in the past. But if there comes a time in the future where I need to defend myself further, I will not hesitate to do so. For now, there's no reason to speak further on this topic, though, because outside of Adana, who's now been indicted with felony fraud, there are no claims against me, no ongoing investigations, and no outstanding lawsuits. At this point, I'm not sure what else I can possibly do to prove my innocence in all this. I did not do what I was accused of. And every institution that our society is entrusted to rule on issues like these, like courts, judges, law enforcement officers, prosecutors, they all agree with me. They've rejected every single claim made against me, even going as far as charging one of my accusers with a felony. If any evidence of any of these claims actually existed, I would have been charged, or at the very least arrested. But that never happened. What else do I have to do to prove that this entire situation has been a massive lie? This is insane. At what point do I get to go back to work and continue earning a living?
Coming from a gospel background, why are you?
So that is his deal. I know he pitched in Japan, and I believe they say he's currently pitching in Mexico. He would like to go back to Major League Baseball. I am one of those people where I'm like, I personally wouldn't want to go back and honestly sue Major League Baseball to pay out the remainder of my salary that I didn't get because they suspended me on false allegations. They didn't even wait for an investigation to play out, for everything to be completed. Just on someone's allegations, they ruined that man's career, basically. I mean, he's still earning a decent living. He had a decent chunk of change. As you can see, he was very much so able to fight the charges against him. But I'm just going, I wouldn't want to go back to Major League Baseball. I'd be okay pitching wherever. And I get it. He's an athlete. He's competitive. And I'm probably being a woman and being in my feelings. I'm like, nobody wants to be with you anyway anymore. It's like, we broke up. You broke up with me. I'm done with you. I'm good. But I just wouldn't. But I would want them to pay me the money that they owed me for terminating my contract. False accusation. So also, y'all, what Char Joel had mentioned earlier, and I'm gonna see here, Tina S. Her comment, bro, take a hand and stop sleeping around. If he'd done what Proverbs said, and to be satisfied with his own spring, of course he does not have a wife, but if he had found a wife to satisfy him, that he could be satisfied with, whose body would belong to him and his body would belong to her, we wouldn't be talking about any of this. There are a number of men who there's no hint. One of the people that comes to mind that I think about as far as athletes is Kurt Warner. There are no accusations that Kurt Warner has done anything with anybody. He found his wife. They have lots of kids. And he's just been satisfied with her. I would, dear World Christian. I would sue them all. And well, he did sue Lindsay Hill, who was the woman who made the first accusation. He did sue her. And what happened with that was that they came to a mutual agreement that both of them would drop their suit. Nobody would have to pay anybody anything. She's broke, so she didn't have anything to pay anyway, and she was the liar. And then they also, the reason he can talk about it is because he did not give up his ability to talk about it. There's no gag order placed on him about talking about it. If I can find it, I will play her, the first lady. She's really crazy. Like, you think Miss Lady who's getting charged with a felony is crazy. Lindsay Hill is absolutely crazy. She's great. Hey, Eric. How are you? How are you? How are you feeling, sir? So here is what I want to talk about next. Just kind of some of the things that I want to do with the channel. You kind of well, give you a little preview of what I'm going to do. Like I said, you guys asked that I review Ratchet TV, so I'm going to give you some of that. I dropped a video about a series that I'm going to start reviewing. It just premiered yesterday. But in doing the research for that, I found another one that I'm going to review. And that is called Grown and Gospel. And what Grown and Gospel does is it follows the lives of the adult children of some gospel legends. And I have now watched 2 episodes of it, so I hope to have the time to actually shoot the videos, maybe do some edits. I'm still working on my editing skills. Haven't really edited much yet, but I'm hoping to have those videos done sometime this week and be able to watch the first episode of the one that I dropped the teaser about, and maybe get all of them out. So we'll see. But here we are, y'all. Y'all have to see Grown and Gospel. Tell me if y'all recognize some of these names in the chat. Well, you don't have to see Grown and Gospel. I'll watch it for you, but here's just a teaser.
Coming from a gospel background, why are you sticking towards R&B?
I love sex. When it comes to the music scene in Detroit
gospel scene, it's just like we're known for gospel music. Detroit is just that place.
Growing up in the industry, growing up to sharing our parents with y'all.
I am daughter of Fred Hammond. I was literally born into gospel music.
Well, I'm not a gospel singer. Preacher's kid, PK.
We all grew up in the same church.
This generation of gospel is different because we're more free to just be ourselves.
I called Mario Wine.
If Mario is overseeing the project, I'm not working on it.
We are the children of legends.
My mom secretly wished that I followed in her footsteps.
And now, as the next generation, we are carving our own path.
I'm trying to figure out how to get off a blow-up mattress. When I was young, I was very rebellious, singing in strip clubs. I'm still showing up at church on Sundays.
You think Jesus got horny?
Because I done already got paid to shake it.
I know the church people gonna run me against the coals on this one.
I apologize for having an affair. I want to dig into where I am. I want this to translate through my music.
Maybe I just don't have what it takes.
I gotta deliver.
We need some help.
Let them breathe.
Grown and Gospel. All new series premieres Thursday, March 16th on WeTV.
Okay, y'all. So I see some of the comments where people are saying, well, Dear World Christian, and some other people said that they had no idea who these people are. Well, one of them, she told you she's the daughter of Fred Hammond. So that's Bree. Then you have Nakia, I think is how she pronounces her name. She is the daughter of Dorinda Clark Cole, so one of the Clark sisters. She actually manages their tour, y'all. Cannot wait to tell you what's going on in her life. Jay Brooks and Tasha, I can't remember what her last name. They are the son and stepdaughter of, I think it's stepdaughter of one of the members of, I think it's Commission, because they were Fred Hammond and Jay Brooks' dad were in the same thing. Now, the only person I did not know, that I hadn't heard of, I guess, is what Elijah, the lovely gentleman with the blonde hair. He is the son of someone named Connor. And I don't know who that person is, but I will have that by the time I actually do the review. So yeah, they're a hot mess. It is a hot mess. I saw that God's Fancy Girl actually knows who their parents are. Pretty much they grew up in Kojic. Our Elijah is Cisco from Wish.com. Oh, he's something else. He really, really is. Oh, Tina, ma'am. There's nothing about there's nothing about any of the things that they do that says I'm saved and I love Jesus. It's a hot mess. But I've done. I think they premiered about 6 episodes. I've watched 2, so I am going to start reviewing those and giving you guys what's best for Kiana and the rest of TV. So with that being said, I am now going to, and I'm going to apologize because this is the actual trailer for the show. So this is not me. I haven't edited anything, but the one that I dropped that I told you that I was going to review, which is the Barnes Bunch. We're going to watch the preview for that so that you guys can know kind of what's coming. This is going to be a hot.
Baby, these tacos taste almost as good as you.
Oh, Lord, totally inappropriate. I'm Ananta Sims, one of the first plus-size supermodels. Let's get it.
Yep.
I got 6 kids to pick up. I'm on my way. And I'm also the daughter of legendary supermodel Beverly Johnson.
How is the sex? Are you enjoying yourself?
Okay.
I always get mine.
Oh, no.
Let's see how this jumper's feeling real quick. Y'all do not want the smoke. Oh, we're good. I'm Matt Barnes, former NBA player and host of All the Smoke.
Welcome back. It's good, baby. It's what we do. Yeah.
Combined, we have 6 kids.
We playing prison ball? I'm a baller.
I'm a better baller.
I'm the boss. I want to be a billionaire.
I'm the best. I'm the big boy.
Let's do a wacky pose.
You hit me in my nuts.
Don't hit people's nuts.
Wait, guys, what's the explanation on this hot dog?
It's good for you. Bacteria makes you grow faster.
How you doing?
We had a little bit of a problem. He said, what do I got to do? Run out and get another girl pregnant?
Oh my God. You have to make a decision, right? Instead of talking it out, we do this.
He's full of
She's full of. Okay, hold on.
I'm out of here.
You still love one another, correct?
Ask him.
Well, you guys are a couple.
I need to go.
You gotta learn how to live with one another. The nonsense? Man? Nope. What's she doing?
I'm done.
The Barnes Bunch premieres Friday, April 19th.
So yeah, so that is the other one that I am reviewing. So Eric, to answer your question, I'll put yours up there because me and typing while doing this isn't working. So the 6 kids come from this. She has 3 from her marriage. He has 2 from his marriage. And then they have 1 together. And they're not married currently. The whole background of them is a hot mess too. Again, I'm looking forward to reviewing it. And dear sister, I saw your comment. I'm trying to find it again. Please know I gotta do it. The people asked for it. Tawana, I didn't Spicy. I didn't ask to have this put upon me, but I will carry the mantle. It's my cross to bear. So I watch it and react to it. So you guys don't have to. And I honestly am going to bring the Bible to bear on it in some ways, in my own little way, because y'all, I'm just going to tell you, I'm not going to open the book and we're not going to do a deep study on it, but just looking at how they got to where they are and what they're doing. I'm a Christian first, so that always play no matter what I do, no matter what I'm looking at, my worldview is in the back of my mind. Oh, where did they come up with shows like this, Tina? I mean, the truth is you don't have to really go that far. I mean, we all been watching the Fonnie Willis case. That could be one of these shows because we know these shows, they're reality, but they're scripted reality. They have storylines. But Fonnie has been better than any storyboard anybody could script at all. Big Tiff, Tahoe Tiffany, City Girl Mayor, Super Mayor, as she calls herself. You couldn't even write this. So it's been amazing. So I'm just going to kind of go back to what I used to do for a second. And I have a third one that's coming up. It's going to be coming up this summer. And y'all, I'm kind of ashamed to say that it is a reality show from my born and raised hometown. So I will be following that also and kind of giving you the tea. It's sad, and we're gonna talk about just honestly how the craziness and how when sin does rule our lives and when we don't follow what God has said, it does not turn out right. Speaking of fun, I told you guys that I was going to read. It was in I think one of Jason's chats. I told you guys that I would read the Fonnie Willis fan club uh, article aloud. So I pulled that, and we're gonna read someone fawning over Fanny. Now I'm gonna take myself out for this one if I can, and I'm just gonna have the whole screen. Yep. So this is on salon.com by Sabrina Haight, and Jason had dropped this in his chat. And as we can see, she's looking just longing. She's probably thinking about the weight that's on her shoulders. So we're gonna start reading. In America's latest iteration of law versus snoop law, Fulton County prosecutor Fonnie Willis has brought the most consequential prosecution in U.S. history. You gotta love when a sentence starts out that darn dramatic. You just know it's gonna be good. The Georgia DA's 41-count indictment against Donald Trump and 18 of his closest co-conspirators. Okay, y'all, Donald Trump has probably not met half of these people. Threads the infinitesimal needle between free political speech and fraud, sewing Trump's lies together in a cloak of criminal enterprise beyond the protection of the Constitution. Now, I think it's crazy what she's saying, but I have to say, I actually love how she wrote what she wrote. It's like, you see this picture? It's cuckoo crazy, her premise, but I love her writing. The First Amendment protects lying politicians. Georgia law doesn't. Trump's incessant drumbeat about the stolen 2020 election, repulsive to voters who value fact over fiction, is legally challenging to parse. Under the First Amendment, politicians have the right to lie to the American public with impunity. Trump can claim that he is Jesus. And there's some people who think he has claimed that he is Jesus, that the earth is flat, and that a chlorine enema can cure cancer. There's little the courts can do. Since 1943, the Supreme Court has protected political speech, even demonstrably false, ridiculous political speech as a part of the First Amendment. If there's any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it's that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion. Now, mind you, I have no idea if that's the way the person who wrote it sounds, but that is the voice I did it in because I love the Southern accent. That's not just my own. In deference to this reality, Jack Smith's federal indictment acknowledged upfront that Trump had a right, like every American, to speak publicly about the election and to even claim falsely that there had been outcomes determined through fraud during the election and that he had won. Now, y'all, if y'all been paying attention, you know that there probably was a little shenanigans going on in Georgia. And even to claim false, oh, sorry, I did that. Willis was not so constrained. She relied on Georgia Code Section 161020, which makes it a crime to lie to any state, city, or local government official in Georgia regarding any matter within its jurisdiction. That's actually a pretty scary code to me, y'all, because we know that our officials can lie to us, including police. They can lie to you to get you to basically knock on yourself or tell you something or tell them something that may not even be true, but because they're afraid of you or you're afraid of them, excuse me, and the consequences. But in Georgia, you can't lie to any of them regarding any matter, not just like I didn't commit a crime, but any matter in the jurisdiction. So what does that mean? It means that while Trump had gotten away with lying to his MAGA devotee for years, he broke the law when he lied to state and federal officials to try to change the outcome of the 2020 election in Georgia. The Georgia indictment cites 162 separate acts by Trump and his co-conspirators, including false statements impersonating a public officer and that weaves them into criminal racketeering charges under Georgia's RICO statute, which is broader than the federal RICO law. Y'all, how many? I mean, like, how are you going? It's 162 counts. How do you even know? That's I don't want to. So let's get back to it. It alleges that Trump conspired to convince Georgia election officials that fraud had occurred, despite a lack of credible evidence consistent with judicial rulings to the contrary. It describes Trump's recorded call urging Brad Raffensperger, Georgia's Republican Secretary of State, to find nearly 12,000 non-existent votes, vaguely threatening Raffensperger if he didn't. Now, y'all, that's actually not true. He didn't ask him to find 12,000 non-existent votes. And I still have to do the review on the book about finding, and I will talk about that then. But needless to say, Secretary of State Raffensperger, he knew that the president did do something illegal, let's just say, because when it came time for him to testify in court, he wasn't copping to what he wrote in his book. I should say this, he was not willing to testify under oath, make the statement under oath when asked. He actually had to rely on his book in order to say yes. More on that when I do the book review. Okay, Trump's overt acts in furtherance of the conspiracy to overturn the presidential vote in Georgia began on November 1st, 2020, when Trump made a nationally televised speech falsely declaring victory. That lie quickly metastasized into various iterations, including a pressure campaign on state and local officials to violate their oaths of office. It included transmitting false elector votes and forged elector certificates to state and federal officials, accusing low-level Georgia election workers of ballot stuffing and trying to intimidate an election worker into falsely confessing to election crimes she did not commit. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's part of what Harrison Floyd has been charged with. I think that's one of his. And I know that the other lady, I'm not sure, it's only one female who's been charged, but I know that that is her. That's part of what she did, the intimidating an election worker into confessing the crime she didn't commit. That is part of her charges. I do know that. Trying to explain how Trump's stolen election litigation resulted in massive losses, 61 cases at last count. One Trump advisor commented, "It's tough to own any of this when it's all just conspiracy, sugar honey iced tea being down from the mothership." Now, this is the good part, y'all. It says, "Sweet poetry of watching a woman take down a misogynist." Trump, who bragged in 2025 about assaulting women's genitalia and then dismissed his comments as locker room talk. Okay, let's just get this straight. Trump never said he assaulted anybody's anything. The full clip of what was said was, "Women will let you grab them by their genitalia." And basically what he was saying is these women out here will do anything for a dollar. They're in their 304 phase. If you have enough money, they will let you do whatever you want to them to try to make you part with your money. Okay. Back to the article. Was found guilty of the same in 2023 by a jury of his peers. Aside from his vitriolic attacks on female politicians and professionals alike, he likes to brag that he personally killed Roe v. Wade. He campaigned on eliminating constitutional right to abortion, promising to appoint pro-life judges. Supreme Court Justices Neil Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, and Brett Kavanaugh tilted, a political court further to the right, injuring women more than any demographic in the process. Y'all, I'm sorry that women don't have a right to murder their babies in the womb. That is an awful, awful thing. How dare we want to protect life? He's such a big bad meanie. He wants to grab women by their genitalia, and then he wants to make sure that they can't kill their babies. So let's move on to we're almost done with this. This is a pretty short article. I didn't expect it to be as short as it was. As red states are now free to force pregnancy and birth on half the population, women have lost agency over their own bodies and are left unable to plan their own families or careers and reduced to that. Okay, so wait a minute. I thought that these women would know how pregnancy occurs and that it takes two to tango. I'm like, they're being forced? They have forced pregnancy? No. They've voluntarily. Let's not pretend. Everybody likes to say that there should be the whole rape and incest thing. Everybody likes to bring up that. But 99.99999% of these women have voluntarily laid down with men, gotten pregnant, and now are saying they want to punish the child for their sin and for their foolishness. I would like someone to explain to me how that's fair. And of course, I had to mention careers because, hey, what would women be if we weren't strong and independent women who don't need no man? Second class citizens. Last time I checked, we were in the era of believe all women. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no second class. How gratifying is it to see Trump taken down by a woman as there is no federal pardon for state crimes? What I find interesting is that they are basically saying that they think he'll get elected again and saying that he will pardon himself should anything happen. And because they're like, there's no federal pardon for state crimes, but I also think it's really, really funny that they don't think that the state of Georgia would pardon him, excuse me. They're trying to punish him, but will pardon him. With Kemp, it's a toss-up. But here we go. Republicans, we're almost done, y'all. Republicans have abandoned the rule of law, preferring political violence and authoritarianism over the loss of power, which makes it all the more gratifying to watch Willis rein them in. Pardon me while I swoon, but Fonnie Willis is no pushover. He's taken on violent gangs and is now prosecuting under the same RICO statute ensnaring Trump, and that trial is actually a hot mess too. I've been watching that one. Willis leans conservative on criminal justice. Had to throw in that she leans conservative on criminal justice just so they could be like, see, she's not a flaming liberal. And her campaign for prosecutor was endorsed by the police shooting. And what you can infer from that is that this woman is no fan of police, meaning the author of the article. She sought the death penalty for a man who murdered 4 women during a shooting spree that targeted Asian spas in Atlanta. And to that, I say, amen. She also prosecuted public school teachers in a high-profile test cheating scandal, a risky political move. Now, mind you, she actually prosecuted them under the same RICO statute. She was ADA for the person that she was. When criticized for the case, Willis told her to try to put it in my obituary. I think Fonnie's obituary is writing itself. Fonnie T. Willis, the woman from Georgia who took down the criminal president. So y'all, is that really what you want your obituary to be? I mean, I'm thinking about that. That obituary would be the line of a lonely, lonely woman. I wouldn't want my obituary to read what I've done at work. I mean, there may be something in there about that, but if that is what's on my tombstone, I would be really, really sad. After listening to Bonnie, I don't know that she would be. Eric Hillary Clinton. We came, we saw, he died. Yeah, pretty much. And they do love Bill Clinton. I saw what you were saying about their favorite Bill Clinton. No matter what he does, he's kind of receded to the background a little bit. They didn't want to hold him accountable for his questionable behavior, and he's had lots of that, a lot of it. Patty H, I see that you said you watched the whole bus thing when it was first published, and it was. Yeah, Billy Bush is now, Billy Bush was running for the hills and saying, "Oh, that was really just so terrible." He knew what was actually said and what was meant. Thank you for clarifying that. 'Cause I've not watched the whole thing, but I'm like, it's crazy. In Sharjah, they don't care about the millions of babies that are being slaughtered. They don't care about the women either. I mean, and I will tell you, I'm prosecuting the women who go to kill their babies. I am. I have no shame about it. My email address is not as pithy as Jason said that you won't see, but you can email me. I'll put it in the comments. You can email me and tell me whatever you want to about it. You don't have a right to kill your baby because you decided that you wanted to be loose. 'Cause in most cases, that's what it is. You want it to be loose, and now you want your baby to pay for it. I don't apologize for that. So this woman decided she was going to fawn over Fawny, and I would like to. This was written. I want to say this is written right after the Bill of Indictment was given for Trump. So in August of 2020, August 19th was published. So I actually was looking to see if there was a follow-up article because what we read in this article did not age well. Fawny is falling apart because of their own foolishness. I haven't read the entire indictment, but just kind of what I have heard lawyers read and kind of what I followed on election night because I've always liked politics. I don't think they really have much of a case, but the prosecution is falling apart because Fonnie decided she wanted to hire her boyfriend. We've all watched that. It is what it is. It is what it is. It's gonna be fun to watch everything play out. And I'm trying to see what there was something else that I had that I wanted to show you guys. I'm gonna see if I can find the Trevor Bauer accuser, the Lindsay Hill. But there was something else that I wanted to show to you guys. But I do know what it is. So while I'm looking for that, I'm gonna look for that for a second. You guys feel free to chat amongst yourselves. I'm gonna try and see if I can catch up the in the chat. Thank you guys for being so patient with me and for being here today on my first live stream. So before I go to the last thing I'm gonna do for today, I'm gonna do the Trevor Bauer, his first accusers interview with with the reporter, and it's really interesting, y'all, because the delusion this woman has is crazy. Safe out there, God's fancy girl. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Tina S. She said, hold up, I took it off. Said, glad God changed my mom's mind about abortion. Her OBGYN tried to push her into one. Praise God. I'm happy that he changed her mind too. Abortion at will is murder. Abortion at will, modern human sacrifice for selfish indiscretion. So true. I second what Char Joel said. In fact, y'all. Let's see. we have here. My dad didn't want me, and my mom didn't know she could have children. She was 35 and never been able to conceive. Wow. Oh, go, mom. I'm happy that she did stay strong and that she did. That she had you. We're glad because we wouldn't get to enjoy our time with you had she not. All right, this is Trevor Bauer. We're kind of going back to the baseball player. This is the first lady who accused him of something. This is her interview with Sarah Gonzalez after it all had been proven untrue. Here we go.
Yesterday, we discussed the conclusion of former Major League Baseball player Trevor Bauer's lawsuit stemming from an alleged sexual assault and Bauer's recent video in which he released his side of the story with receipts. Joining me now to discuss that is Bauer's accuser herself, Lindsay Hill. Lindsay, I mentioned Bauer's video in which he provided some receipts that I'm going to be honest with you, make you look like a clout chaser, or I know some people are calling you a cleat chaser because admittedly you were chasing after several high-profile, wealthy baseball players. Trevor says everything was completely consensual. He also released these text messages that came out in court indicating that you had planned the whole thing out. So I want to read some of these texts from you to a friend between the two of you before you met Trevor, this one. Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. Okay. Victim is an interesting choice of words. I'm going to allow you a chance to explain yourself. But after you agreed to meet, you asked your friend what you should steal. Your friend answered his money. He says, another one from you to a friend, I'm going to his house Wednesday. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. With a screenshot in which you told him, tryouts don't scare me, Bauer. Pick a day and I am there. Here are some more after you and Trevor met up. Net worth is $51 million, to which your friend responds, bitch, you better secure that bag. Your text, need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million. You say this wasn't a setup. How can you expect anyone to believe that?
That's a great question. I really appreciate you having me on to even have this conversation. Obviously, there's a lot going on around this, so I really appreciate people who are asking questions about it. The first thing I want to say is, I think that Trevor did this intentionally with the text messages and how he framed this video. There's several things in it that are not correct. And I just want to start out by saying, it's so valid for people to question those text messages. But the root of the problem here is that he is presenting this as one conversation when in reality he had thousands of messages to choose from, took those, made it look sequential, which it was not. There is no combined screenshot of those things going on one after the other. And as I said last night as well, there's no text message that ever exists. Otherwise he would have, put it out there, combining, anything about a setup through rough sex, finances all in one. Those were handpicked and they were from multiple different conversations all before we met up. And I think that the video in general doesn't even talk about what actually happened between us two, which is what would have come out during a jury trial. These were all messages that happened before. And then of course the video is so valid as well for people to ask questions about. But I do think that video was entirely misleading. He also references the restraining order hearing, which people also have questions about. He says that he was cleared of any wrongdoing, which is actually incorrect.
Okay, so she's saying that he wasn't cleared of any wrongdoing. No, the court said basically, in order for them to throw out the entire thing, as he stated, I think in his past video, he would have been arrested. We know this without a doubt because we are kind of getting out of the Me Too movement, but we are truly have been in that since about 2015 or so. This whole little Me Too movement, that boy would have been arrested, thrown under the jail, thrown in the jail, even though he's done nothing again except not keep himself. One person who should be his wife. He most assuredly would not have gotten away with any of this.
In our civil case, the judge had actually ruled that he had not been cleared of any wrongdoing, and that was a federal court judge. So
I want to get to the domestic violence restraining order hearing as well, but I mean, so you're saying that it's misleading because you're admitting that you did talk about rough sex and wanting rough sex. You did talk about him needing to choke you out. You did talk about stealing his money, but it's misleading because he put them together in the same video as if you had said it in the same conversation when in fact it was separate conversations, correct? That's why it's misleading.
Correct. And as well as not showing, the messages that occurred after where it discusses it strictly in the term of, being a baseball wife or something like that.
Or something like
Okay, so I'm sorry. So she's saying that because she potentially wanted to marry him, then makes it okay that she was actually after his money.
like that. Okay. I'm just curious if you know like the statistical likelihood of you texting your friend premeditated texts saying you wanted him to choke you out and
I'm
steal
very
his money,
happy
take
to-
his money, and him actually choking you out and those two things not being related.
It's a really, really valid question. And like I said, I think you would need to look through each conversation. Those were handpicked. But I can, like I said last night, completely own the fact that those were overly sarcastic, overly inappropriate to some may seem. And it does give off that impression about clout chaser and totally attention seeking behavior. But I just feel that they have, nothing to do with what actually took place. But it does cause a lot of questions as to why I was, seeking Trevor out. But at the end of the day, there was nothing about a setup with violence and all of this stuff and getting financial gain. It was strictly, a 25 or however old I was at the time, girl trying to get attention from those things and phrasing it in a sarcastic way before we met.
Okay. So I've got a couple other questions on that. So you said in court that he sexually assaulted you on 2 different encounters. And you say the first time that you say he
Y'all, I find it just amazingly crazy that she is trying to spin this in some other way. She's saying she wasn't setting him up, but you accuse the man of assault after you slept with him. I don't get it. Help me understand, because I'm old. These people are younger than me. I'm not sure how old they are. They may be young enough to be my kids. I'm not sure if they're in their 20s or 30s. If they're in their 30s, they're not young enough to be my kids. But if they're 20, just maybe that. I don't understand this world today. I don't understand it. So I'm just trying to figure out how even saying some of the things she was saying to him are offensive. I don't know.
choked you unconscious. Clearly, the insinuation is you didn't like it because now you're calling it an assault. But why did you make the drive back to LA to meet back up with him a second time if this man had just assaulted you by your own account?
I think that's a really good question. How I phrased it and how I in the past is that I was so embarrassed by the first encounter that I felt something, deep in me to go and take the power back and to be better and to be what he wanted in a sense. And so I don't know. There's been a lot of, through all the processes, witness experts on the psychology of what happens when you are assaulted, XYZ. But there was something in me that felt like I needed to make it better in a sense.
Okay. But you texted Trevor before you met him, telling him you liked rough sex. Then you texted him after your first sexual encounter with him, which you now call an assault. And according to court records, you told him after that sexual encounter that you had, quote, never been more turned on in your life. That's not really something that someone says when they were just assaulted.
I think it's a super valid question. Everything you're asking me is a super valid question.
I agree. That's why I'm asking them.
Totally. And I think that I'm not, that's what expert witnesses are for in court in terms of the psychology behind that in responses to abuse and things like that. But like I said, I was just trying to make myself feel better about myself after what had happened the first time. And after the first time I left without any markings on my body, my face was fine. I could go to work. And I thought that the second time, would be like the first time minus the things I told him I was not comfortable with.
Yeah. So you mentioned the markings on your body. I want to play a portion of his video in which he plays I would say, interesting video of you in his bed. Watch.
In August of 2021, Lindsay Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsay Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us.
Lindsay, I think there are a lot of sexual assault survivors who would say you don't look traumatized there and you don't look beaten. And this is allegedly after you say that he brutally attacked you and you had bruises all over your body. You had bruises all over your face. I don't see any bruises there. And I certainly don't see a woman who's just been traumatized by something horrible.
Again, super valid. I think that I woke up that morning and the best way to explain that video is I hadn't seen my entire body yet. I had no idea what had happened considering, I was unconscious for most of it. I had no idea what had happened to my full body.
But if it was that severe, wouldn't you already feel pain? Wouldn't you already have bruises on your face? I mean, you say that he punched you in the face, but where are the bruises?
Y'all, I usually am speechless with these people. I always say that it's people like this who make it hard for me to find. Because if I were a guy, I wouldn't talk to any women. I would not be near them. I saw Shara Joel was saying that it's women like this who make her say to her son, "Don't get married," and I get it. I really, really do. I told her though, just make sure she keeps a running list so that she can know who she can watch for some compatible mates for her kids. But I mean, notice she used the word "take power back." Tia used the word "take power back," talking about telling their stories and telling their truth. There are certain words that when you hear, it's about to be some feminist garbage. My truth, take back power, stories, narrative, it's about to be just some straight trash. And you pretty much don't need to listen to the person who's talking at that point. Oh, wow. I'm catching up in the chats here and I'm kind of looking at Tina telling the story that she's had, and she's gone through. I'm very glad that you had photos and pictures also. And you remind me of another story, Tina, that I'll probably do for another day because on my first live stream, I am not trying to go, but there is one other thing that I want to share with you guys. This is a document, and it's the case of when DEI goes horribly wrong. I thought it was hilarious. I was talking to my family about it last night when the kiddos had their end of the year program for their school and co-op, and my brother-in-law's mother was asking me, how is it that I find out these things? I don't know. I just happen. I work on the computer all day, y'all, dealing with numbers. And truthfully, you guys who are in this chat, Dear Woke Christian, and the other content creators are how I stay sane because I listen to podcasts and things like that all day long. So thank you guys for making my workday great because I get to interact with you guys as I'm working. We listen to great content. So thank you, much older brother Jason at Dear Woke Christian. And now I'm going to share what happens when DEI goes horribly wrong. And I say horribly wrong. It's not actually horribly wrong. It's the funny things that happen when DEI happens. So this, my dear walkers, it's not horrible. It's funny. It's hilariously funny because they eat each other. They all eat each other. All the liberals eat each other, and it's hilarious. This, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm going to try and make it bigger. So this filed on April 15th in the United States District Court of Southern New York. As you can see here, the plaintiff is William Schultz. He's an individual, and he is, excuse me, filing a complaint against Weather Hunters Inc., Al Roker Inc., Al Roker is an individual, and Lisa Tucker is an individual. Now I will tell you, I have no idea who Lisa Tucker is, but I do know who Al Roker is. He is the weatherman who took over for Willard Scott when he left the Today Show. And William Schultz filed a complaint, a DEI complaint against Al Roker, not because William Schultz felt like he was being treated unfairly, but he filed it on behalf of all of the BIPOC people. So we'll just read a little bit of it. I highlighted some funny things that I thought was funny. I have not read this whole document, but I just wanted to go over a little part and just kind of share with you what happened, why DEI is a horrible idea, and how it's so funny that we now have a white man suing a black man over DEI. So we'll start off reading. William Bill Schultz, plaintiff, or William Schultz, against a complaint against defendants Weather Hunters Inc., Al Roker Entertainment, Al Roker, an individual, and Lisa Tucker, an individual, collectively defendants alleging the following. The wrongful act, which in this matter is based, flows from inappropriate conduct directed toward the plaintiff by the defendant. And I want to just and again, DEI. It's alter ego, Weather Hunters Inc., and individuals Al and Lisa Roker. Plaintiff noted, this is something I found funny too. The plaintiff, a noted and acclaimed producer of animated television programming, was wrongfully and illegally targeted, leading to illegal termination of an agreement he had with the defendant, WHI, and its alter ego, Al Roker Entertainment. I just found it really funny that he had his lawyer, because I know his lawyer had to gas him up. Now, here's the good part for me. So, Al Roker Entertainment, in retaliation for standing tall as a whistleblower, complaining of one, illegal racial bias and discrimination against African Americans and other Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, BIPOC, people in the workplace, and two, for objecting to the denigration and wholesale deconstruction of diversity, equity, and inclusion program intended to bring minority writers onto a PBS television production. So PBS set up this whole little deal where they wanted to bring in more minorities, and with people who they were working with, produce things on their channel, they made them basically say, you're going to have a diverse staff. So this producer got hired, and this guy actually is a client. Worked on The Simpsons. He's done some adult film stuff. I think it's adult film, maybe Cartoon Network. So it's down in the, like, forgive me. So following the implementation of the DEI policy, defendants attempted to disregard and minimize it and retaliated against Mr. Schultz when he objected to issues surrounding the conduct of defendants concerning the DEI policy and race. As a result of the extreme and inexcusable illegal conduct of the defendants, as herein alleged, the plaintiffs sustained material harm, detriment, and damage. Now, here's something I found really, really funny, y'all, is that because he's what he's doing here is he's made his little statement that Al Roker Entertainment and WHI, which is Weather Hunters Inc., they're all basically the same person. So he's suing them. He has them as separate defendants. He's like, there's no real distinction between any of them. But here's what I found funny was he said that they wrongfully and willfully breached a valid and subsisting written contract that they had induced the plaintiff to enter. Now, I get that it is probably a legal word to use induce, but it's just funny to me because induced when I hear it, the connotation he sounds like they kind of tricked him into doing. The funniest part to me, though, is I'm going to show you these lovely people. I'm sure we all know what Al Roker looks like, but I'm going to pull up the pictures because when I read the suit, I saw something about Al Roker being on the Today Show and the fact that that he, was smiling despite what happened. That's how I actually found it. And I was like, oh, what happened with Al Roker? Because I'm thinking, he's had some battles with health and all that good stuff. So I was like, oh, what's going on with Al Roker? And turns out he is getting sued by a white guy because he was discriminating against. We cannot make this stuff up, y'all. And I'm bringing this over here. So Al Roker, we all know what Al Roker looks like. He's the defendant in this. And Bill Schultz. I'm going to bring him up. That is not the one I want. Here, not that. Hold on just a second. Oh, okay. We're going to bring this over here. Oh, look, you guys can watch it circle. We're going to take that down. We're going to move this. We don't want gravity. And we're just going to bring the whole thing over. So this guy is suing this guy. You cannot make this stuff up. And so I just thought that was funny. As we can see here, we have the rap, like Al Roker cartoon accused of not honoring mandated DEI policy. I read a couple of articles, and basically what it is that Bill was pushing to have writers in, and they're like, we can't finish at this time. So what they did was they would have to allegedly, they would have white writers write it, and then have the black writers come in and kind of like tweak it a little bit. You know how Beyonce's been allegedly accused of having songwriting credit for adding to the or the or body or whatever it is, just a word to a song, but she's giving songwriting credits. That's kind of what Bill Schultz, from the summary in the articles that I've read, is doing. Instead, Al Roker and them did. They would have the white people write it and then bring the black people in to cross out a verb and add another one, or do corrections like, oh, we don't need that. We don't have to use commas anymore. So yeah. I wanted to end with that one because I thought it's hilarious and funny. And you really, really cannot make this stuff up. Oh my gosh, I'm not sharing with y'all. So y'all didn't see me circle it. Hold on. I gotta stop sharing because I brought it over. I've been talking about this whole time and didn't realize that I was actually not sharing it with y'all so you can see who's doing who. I want you to see who's suing whom. Again, you know who Al Roker is. And I had never heard of oh shit. There we go. So this guy is suing this guy. It's so fun. You really can't make it up. It is, and I think honestly, it is just desserts because this whole DEI mess is ridiculous. And I am happy to see it. Basically dying a slow, painful death. Y'all, that will actually do it for me. I think I have covered everything I wanted to cover. And if I haven't, hopefully you'll join me in another session for Coffee with Q. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the interaction that you guys have had. This live stream thing, the comments, I wasn't good at it when I was on other people's channel, and I'm definitely not as good at it on my channel doing it, but I really, really appreciate it. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. Let's see what Shar is talking about. Let's see. When my husband was interviewing for a promotion, he was asked about DEI. I told him he should have told them he would hire the first Black trans lesbian he came across. I love it, Shar Joel. I really do. That is hilarious. That is probably something I would tell somebody. Oh, yep. Nope. I like that too. And Eric, the whole little immigration thing is probably something else I'll talk about on Q's Corner. I will tell you guys my plan for it. This maybe every other Saturday because they're busy with kids, with the kiddos doing their stuff, and I like to be at those things, like put on my baseball aunt hat. And my baby girl doesn't want me to wear shirts anymore that says that I'm a dance on or I'm with the dancer, so I can't do that for her anymore because she has the title and things like that coming up. So I definitely won't be doing this every weekend, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I want to make it better, and I can only do that if you guys give me feedback and help me. So this is a collaborative effort, and again, I want to say thank you guys. I love you all, and I appreciate you supporting me. I'm just one girl, her opinion from her corner of the world. I've invited you guys into the crazy corners of my mind, into my corner. I'm not. I can promise that I won't always be right, but I really do hope to be God honoring, and I hope that we can all have a good time. As I get better, I'll be able to get some sound effects going, and we can do some other things. And maybe, hopefully, one day one of you guys will come up and join me. I'll have to learn that. But again, I love you. Thank you. God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. I know V is driving, but she's planning to do something related to the Kentucky Derby or the upcoming Kentucky Derby, which I think is awesome. She wants to go do that. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. Eric, I know that it's kind of afternoon, evening for you, so I hope you're wrapping up doing what the doctor told you to do, but that you're also enjoying yourself. So, my dears, this is all from me. Thank you so much again for joining me. Remember, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell them about who I am before you do that. Until next time, y'all, I'll see you in the corner.